Welcome to Beach Party Radio, bringing you the best music and interviews of Carolina beach music artists from North and South Carolina and along the Grand Strand of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You can find us on the web at beachpartyradio.com and on Facebook and Twitter at Beach Party Radio. Now, here's your host, DJ Delta Dawn.
Hello, hello. It is Beach Party Radio, and yes, I am your host, DJ Delta Dawn or Dawn Mac, whichever way you want to call me, just call me. It is Wednesday, hump day, as many of us in the South refer to it as, and it's been a great day. I hope it has been for you. We are so very excited because I've got a band with us tonight that's our special guest that you guys are just absolutely going to love. I've been following these guys for a little while, been a fan of theirs, and love their music and their sound. Now, for those of you who are new to our program, this is a Carolina Beach music program in which we feature music and artists of Carolina Beach music artists from North and South Carolina. This is a style of music that has just resonated with people in this region, especially along the coastal region, and it is, just really hot. People love it, and it is kind of a concentrated sound that just has come out of the Carolinas that people absolutely go crazy for, and I think that's one of the great appeals to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I will say to the listeners out there, if you've never visited Myrtle Beach, you need to put that on a bucket list or some sort of list so that in the future you can make plans to do that, because it is a fun place to be, and if you ever go, you'll never want to go to any other beach. There's so much to do. Even when it's raining, there's never a bad day at the beach. So it's just always great to go. I wish I could go more often than I do, but such is life that I don't get there very often, even though I live 3 hours away, but still, it's always great fun when I go. Now, our guest tonight, I'm really stoked about. I've been looking forward ever since I booked him to having him on the show. They have been together for quite a few years. Now, when I say quite a few years, like decades, folks, they have had such great success playing all up and down the East Coast. They're one of the South's great party bands for about the last 30 years or so. And they play a little bit of everything, oldies, beach, top 40 funk. And they have a great brass sound, super vocals, and a wide-ranging repertoire that people have just come to love, and they're in demand all over the place. So without further ado, I would love to welcome the guys from North Tower Band. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, have I got everybody on the line?
Well, you got Larry. You got Jeff.
Well, good deal. And who else have I got?
Doug Manning.
Well, hey, Doug. This is Dawn. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, Dawn. I hope you are.
I am. I couldn't grab you before the show aired, so I apologize. But the other two had called in, so I was telling them I'm going to have to put you on hold very briefly. But anyway, I'm glad you're all here. Welcome. We're so glad to have you. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time this evening, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, I want to first start out by just saying a huge congratulations to you guys for the longevity of the band and for just having the success that you've had over the last couple of decades.
Well, we've had a great time. We've been together since, well, the origins come from like 1978, so it's been quite a while.
Yes, indeed. And you know, that's no small feat, because especially in today's world where music is ever-changing and evolving, to be able to stay in a band, any band for that matter, for that period of time is quite impressive. And what do you think has been the testament to your success for this long period of time?
Go ahead, Larry.
Oh, I was going to let someone else talk.
They must want you to take the lead, Jeff.
I believe that
Larry has to do this one since he's been there longer than everybody else.
Yeah, I've been there since 1980, so I'm in my 34th year here, and I think it's just the music. You know, we play good music and got a good bunch of guys that everybody likes to see, and it's a friendly bunch, good-looking bunch, except for me. And then we have a good time and been kind of keeping it going. We're not the only band that's been around that long, but there's not many that can make it go that 34, 35 years. So we're pretty proud of that. And we were just recently inducted into the Beach Music Hall of Fame, so I guess eventually they recognize we've been around a while and have been playing that beach music.
Well, and not only that, of course, for the longevity, but also for your great sound and just your amazing songwriting ability. You've had some great hits, and so, yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that you were inducted into the Beach Music Hall of Fame. Congratulations on that as well. And by the way, I have to beg to differ with you. I think you guys are a handsome bunch, and I'm sure for the ladies out there when you perform, it is that's part of the appeal. So don't ever shortchange yourself there.
Well, no, we all agree with you on that, other than Larry, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's all that matters, right? I'm sure you have quite a legion of fans with the ladies. Well, I just, want to talk a little bit about how you guys came to be as a band because, from 30-some years ago to now, I mean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes just in the Carolina beach music scene itself, but in music in general. And talk a little bit about how you came together.
I'll let Doug answer that question. He knows more about the history.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in terms of how the band started, back around 1978, Gary Dennis and myself were actually playing in a band called Carolina Trace in Raleigh. At the same time, Gary was in a vocal quartet over in Chapel Hill that liked to go around to the sororities and sing, and I'd actually started going over and playing acoustic guitar some, so they'd have some accompaniment instead of just singing a cappella. And Gary and I got to talking. Our top 40 band in Raleigh was just not doing all that well, and at that time, the big thing amongst all the bands was floor shows. And, the Embers did their show, the Shakers, the Band of Oz, everybody was doing floor shows. And Carolina Trace didn't have the ability to do that, but we were able to take advantage of the quartet, who did a lot of the kind of the 50s doo-wop music. So Gary and I got to talking about it, and we decided that we would replace a couple of guys in Carolina Trace, bring the vocal guys in from his quartet, and set ourselves up so we could do a floor show, and right from the get-go. So literally from day one, when North Tower was started, we immediately started doing a floor show, in our set list. And so that's kind of how the band got started. And like I said, through the years, different personnel have kind of come and gone. In fact, we had a reunion just a few years ago, and I think there were, Larry can correct me, I think it was like 27 guys that have played in the band throughout the different years actually came to the reunion, got up there and performed on stage that day. So that's kind of where the history got started.
That's the number I
must tell you. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I was going to say, I think it was 27 or 28 in that range, and there's some out. Not everybody made it.
And speaking from one of the new guys, it was really neat meeting a lot of the original guys and a lot of the former players.
Yeah,
well, I have to say, that's got to be one of the coolest things I've heard in a long time. I mean, that's a real statement about the longevity and the length of time you guys have been together, been a band, or North Tower has been around, because to have that many different people over the history of the band, enough to have a reunion and bring everybody back, or almost everybody back, to play. Wow, what an amazing time that had to have been for you guys.
Well, it was so important to, like Gary Dennis, he came all the way from Oklahoma to join the reunion. Another Anthony Tart came from Nashville. So, I mean, North Tower is that special to all of us who have been part of it or are part of it to make that kind of trip.
Well, is that the kind of thing that you guys try to do on every so many years, or is it just kind of a one-time thing that you just kind of off the cuff decided, hey, let's do this, let's see if we can, kind of thing?
Well, that was the first one, but I'm sure there'll be more. You know, now that we've got quite a supply of ex-musicians, it helps, you know, when you're trying to put a reunion together.
Well, now, was this reunion something that you did kind of for the fans, where the fans could come out and hear, you know, you guys play, or was this just kind of exclusive to you and your families, or how did that work?
We had quite a few people show up. We had it at a local nightclub and invited people who hadn't seen us in a long time. A lot of them who from back in the '80s and that sort of thing. And it was a great night. I mean, we did songs we can't do without some of those guys. You know, with different musicians playing different instruments and stuff. It was just a really good time. And of course, no point in us having such a good time and not letting the public join in. So we invited people to come and enjoy it, and a lot of people showed up. It was a really good party. Probably why we might do it again.
That's probably a night of great memories, not only for you guys but for the fans who have been followers for such a long, long time, and a real treat to be able to have that many musicians back in one spot, you know, to take turns playing, and that's pretty cool, very cool indeed. So let's talk about what you guys have got going on right now. We have been playing your latest release, It's No Use, which is really, I think, getting a lot of good feedback. I like the song a lot, and by the way, who sings lead on that?
Well, that would be me. That would be Doug.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I didn't know who was singing lead, but doing a great job on that. And that's Doug. You're talking, right, Doug? I want to make sure.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it's a great song, and so in the times through the years, like when you have written songs, how does that work? Because being in a somewhat big band as it is, I mean, how does the collaboration effort take place? I mean, just one person or two people kind of do the songwriting, or is it just everybody pitches in and does their part kind of thing?
I think every song's had a different story. Our most successful song was probably Chasin Dreams, and I believe Doug and the neighbor, or a good friend of his, they got together and wrote that song, and then DJs have presented us with songs to redo, and Doug has written a lot of stuff, and so it seems like every song had a different story right from the very beginning, you know, and Doug might be able to expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, certainly not prolific, but like Larry said, it is true. I mean, I think every song is a little different. I always make a joke about it. It's usually because I'm either ticked off about something or extremely happy, and it really doesn't matter which one.
Look, if it makes for a great song, that's really all that matters, right? In the end, that's truly all that matters. So, because if the fans enjoy it, then you know you've written a great song. That's the way I see it. So, and you definitely have. And I love Chasin Dreams. I think that was when I first really started following the beach music scene, really pretty heavily entrenched. That was the first song I ever heard by you guys, and just loved it. I was like, wow. And so then following you guys ever since. Now, I'm sure in 30-plus years of being a band, you have stories to tell. And if you can, as long as it's not X-rated. No, I'm just joking. But seriously, I know you've got plenty of stories, you know, fan stories. And what is something, you know, one or two things that kind of jump out at you over all the time that you've been playing as a band that it's just a great memory for you, or maybe a performance you guys had or a place you played? Share that with the listeners, if you will.
Oh, I got to tell you now, and I think Jeff would agree. You can let anybody in the band tell it, but Larry really should tell the story about his first job.
My first job. She did say great memory, but it is one I can't get out of my head, so it's not necessarily a great memory. I had been recruited by a friend to join the band, and I was finishing up my school, so finally it was time to do my first job. And I got in the car with Gary, so it was Gary and Larry heading up the highway, and we drove, and you know, I was taking my new car out, so I was having a good time and all that, and Gary was having a good time throwing peanut shells all over my new car. So anyway, I was after about 10 hours, 11 hours of driving, we finally got to our destination, which was Enterprise Drive in Lafayette, Indiana. Well, we got up there and we looked around, and well, we had the right street. We were in Lafayette, Indiana, and it was apparent that there was not a nightclub in sight. It was like a lot of empty fields and maybe a restaurant or something, but not a nightclub. And we finally got together. The guys had found us, because they were kind of lost too. And when we got together, we called the booking agent and we said, "Man, we're in Lafayette, Indiana, and we're Enterprise Drive, and somebody's giving us the wrong information. We're just not seeing the club." And the guy hesitated for a few seconds, and he said, "Run that address by me one more time." We said Lafayette, Indiana. He says, "Boys, you guys are supposed to be in Lafayette, Louisiana."
Oh no!
So I was starting to have second thoughts about being a member of the band, because at that point in time, and we just said, forget it. We can't possibly get to Louisiana in time to make that job. So we ended up coming back to North Carolina. And to tell you how the business was back then, we actually found a job and played that week anyway, just by the mere fact that we were back in the state and somebody wanted to use us. But it was a little discouraging there at first, but it makes sense.
I can certainly imagine. That has to be, yes, that's up there with probably one of the top 5 memories of all time for North Tower Band. And what a story. I mean, yeah, that would have been quite a trek to try to get from Indiana to Louisiana in time to play the gig. It would have been quite a miracle feat, let's just put it that way.
Well, I think the truck broke down along the way and stuff like that too.
Oh,
so
no.
it had more pain than gain, that's for sure. And I'm not sure we would even made it to Louisiana. We were borrowing vehicles from our dads and all that sort of thing. It was a mess.
Well, I am glad that you did not let that one time discourage you from being in the band, and I'm sure the band is glad too, But maybe it was intentionally done. I'm saying this tongue in cheek to break you in.
Well, it worked. I was broken. In fact, we were all broken.
Yeah, no, really, that was a real bonding time, wasn't it? They were, if there was ever a time to bond, that was then, or not. That was a make or break moment, for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about the industry and the music side of things, because, as you just said, back then, it was no problem. You arrived back in North Carolina, thankfully, safely, and you were able to just kind of pick up and get a gig that weekend and play. But things have changed through the years, and talk a little bit about some of the changes that you guys have seen that are quite dramatic from when you began.
Jeff, you remember that stuff?
What's that?
All the changes that come around through the business.
There's been a lot of changes since we've been doing this. Obviously, the economy's changed somewhat. There's a lot of great bands in our industry, and we're friends with most of them, and all of them pretty much. And so the competitions has stepped up, but we just try to bring our A game every time, and so we can put a really good product out there for our fans.
Well, one of the things that I've always liked about the Carolina Beach music scene is the way, more than any other genre of music, it's just a very special, close-knit group of folks that you guys are. Because, it's not uncommon for members from different bands to be in a club where a band is booked to play on a given night, and they hop up on stage and they're all playing, and the crowd's getting, double their money's worth because they're getting more than they expected. It's a real treat for the crowd. But there's so much collaboration and appreciation for and respect for what, respectively you each do as bands and artists. And I think that's awesome because, the music industry as a whole can be so cutthroat. And like you said, it is competitive. But it just seems like that in this side of it, in Myrtle Beach, thank God for Myrtle Beach, that, there are clubs down there and, the clubs are happy because there's plenty of bands and artists to go around in terms of their bookings, which is really good. But it's a great camaraderie, and I've noticed that it seems to just really be that way, and it just really shows how close knit this part of it is, and that's a great thing.
Well, that happens pretty often. I mean, we'll be down in Myrtle Beach, and we'll walk down the street on a break to see our buddies in the other band who are playing right 2 doors down or 3 doors down, and they'll do the same thing, come at the end of the night and hang out with us.
Yeah, it's a great support base, and I love this. I wish all of the music industry was that way, and it was not so competitive that it gets really raunchy and cutthroat. I mean, but at least in the Carolina Beach music scene, it's not that way, and that's a great thing. But it's just a real testament to our part of the world, our little corner, that we've got some great music and some great bands and artists alike that are not only putting out great music, but you just have a wonderful rapport that really does resonate, I think, not only among, the respective artists, but with the fans. The fans pick up on this, too. And I think that's why I believe that Carolina Beach music has the best diehard, loyal fans of any fan following of any artist in the world, in my opinion.
I could agree with that. It's some of our best memories are, all these bands were in Myrtle Beach, which was like the hub of beach music, and after jobs were over, we'd all meet each other at the Pancake House, the Holland House down in, which is no longer around, but we'd all meet down there at 2 o'clock in the morning and just gather up and have a good time talking and eating and all that sort of thing, because we were night owls, and it was great. Don't get to do that quite as much, but we still all know each other, and when one of us is booked, we'll get on the phone, call one of the other guys, one of the other bands, and say, hey, you guys take this job and that sort of thing. And you probably don't see that in other genres of the business. So it's pretty cool.
No, and I can tell you from being on this side of the microphone and this side of the radio, interviewing just indie artists in general who are from, they're not Carolina Beach music artists, and they're just artists that are unsigned, that are, coming from all genres of music, and even that's extremely competitive, and it's not like, it is in this scene. And I wish it were like that across all forms of music, because I think music as a whole, the way the industry would work, would everybody would benefit so much more if there was that same camaraderie. I mean, I think music artists from other genres could stand to sit up and take note of what you guys do and the artists do in the Carolina Beach music world, because there's a lot to be said for how far it's taken you. And, there are some mainstream artists that never make it to 35 years in the industry for one reason or the other. And and the other thing that I love about Carolina Beach music artists is the fact that you guys are all so grounded. I mean, you have families, and you're true to your families, and you get out there and you play your hearts out. You do what you love what you do, and I think that's really the secret to the success of so many artists in this industry.
Yep. We would agree with that.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so you guys, where are you going to be playing in the very near future?
Well, we're going to be at Atlantic Beach this coming weekend, playing a wedding one night and at a country club the next, or vice versa. And don't want the bride hears me say it wrong; she'll get all upset. But anyway, and so we're heading down to the coast. After that, we'll be playing. Well, actually, after that, we're going to be at Rocky Mount at the Imperial Center next Thursday. That sort of thing. We do a whole lot of these Thursday night deals where you play at a city for like an outdoor live after 5 kind of thing. I think we, had close to a dozen of them if you add them all up, and then we'll be back at Myrtle Beach on the next night, and then back to Atlantic Beach. So you can tell this time of year we're spending a lot of time at the beach, but.
Oh, yeah.
Just a lot of different places. About the only, we try to stay in this area. We're in North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina, but there's nowhere we won't go, and eventually we'll end up in every single city. After 30 years, there's not many you haven't crossed paths with.
That's so true. Well, now you guys have played a lot of different type of venues. You played outdoor festivals. You played, the clubs down at Myrtle Beach, and you've done a lot of different things. What is your favorite type of venue to play? Because, the crowds are all different everywhere you go.
Well, obviously we enjoy playing anywhere that we can. The outdoor festivals and outdoor concerts just are a whole lot of fun. Usually get a large crowd, a diverse crowd. A lot of younger folks that are just being introduced to beach music are out there, and everybody's just having a great time. It's a very relaxed atmosphere, and to me, those are the most fun.
Yes, and I've been to some of those festivals, and the energy is just amazing. I mean, it's so high energy, and the crowd is having a great time, and it's just a fun event. And this time of year, you just look around, and they're all over the place. But you're right. I mean, the summertime is prime time for Carolina beach music because, all the artists are moving and shaking and playing all up and down the coast, and it's just a great time.
Yeah,
we find it's a good way to expose our music to a new audience sometimes. So it's a great venue for us.
Oh,
I believe
yeah,
the youngsters are at Myrtle Beach this week, like an SOS for kids, junior or something. Doug maybe knows what it is. I just have seen some posts here and there about the kids dancing and everything down there, so they have like a little convention during the summer, and kind of like what the adults do in the spring and the fall.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. It's junior SOS, and it's going on all week. I think it started the 16th, and it runs through the 21st. So it's they're having a big time down there. Now I love to watch these shagging competitions, but the kids who have gotten into it so early, I mean, they are so impressive to watch. To be able to master that style of dance, and some of them are they make my head spin watching them. I'm like, how do they move that fast? They're so incredibly talented. So I'm really glad that there's a junior a part of the SOS crowd that they've allowed. It's just a great way to incorporate the kids into the mix of this, because those are the future shaggers of tomorrow. Adult shaggers, I should say.
That would be true. We need them. I mean, you gotta remember, a lot of the older folks that were listening to us in the 80s, they're not here, so we need some new people.
That's true, and I think it's great. It's, my kids, now I've never been able to get them interested in beach music, but I know, from a generational standpoint, I've introduced them to music I listened to in the 80s, 70s kind of thing. And my son, he's a drummer, and, he's played all different types of music, and so he's really, it's interesting when your kids go, now what's that song Bon Jovi sings? And I'm like, okay, and they're digging it, and you're like, all right, they're digging something. They don't think mom and dad are not cool, they think this is cool stuff. So it's really neat to see, the youngsters getting involved in the beach scene and in the beach music, and because they will be the ones out there either performing in bands in the future or on the boardwalk shagging and in the shagging competitions as adults.
Well, it's actually ironic that you brought that up, because North Tower is a very generational band. In fact, our drummer is second-generation North Tower. His dad's an original member, and the other saxophone player in the band. That would be Bobby Craig. And then you will also see Bobby's wife, who is Doug's daughter, up on stage with us from time to time, Taylor Manning Craig.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and I love that because, you've kind of got an all-in-the-family feel, and it's generational. And again, if you had not been around as long as you have, that just would not be part of it. And, with the children, the adult children of the original members, they've grown up around you guys, you know, those that are now in the band. They've grown up, that's all they've known, and it would make sense, you know, it would be in their blood, so to speak. So, and, you know, and that will just continue onward as time goes on. You know, it will continue to be a generational thing, I hope, so that North Tower will be around for a very long time to come.
Well, you talk about our favorite places to play. Well, you know, there's nothing really beats a great nightclub. You know, when some of my favorite places ever were some of the clubs. They're no longer around, but you know, there was places like Chaps and Kinston, and you know, just these great places, and there's a lot of energy there. And of course, there's great energy at the big parties. But speaking of generations, you know, we're to the point now. We just recently played a wedding, and the bride and groom came up, or the bride came up and said, you know, you played for my parents' wedding 30 years ago.
Wow.
So that's happened to us a couple of times now, and that's pretty cool. I mean, and even though those are much more calm events, they can get pretty crazy as time goes by during the course of the evening, and they're all fun. But they all have their different energy levels, and they all have a different appeal. I really enjoy doing that, and especially if there's that heritage there. Say, yeah, we married your parents, so evidently your weddings, you're blessed from the very beginning, just like they were. So,
well, and you know, the neat thing about that is how many bands can actually say they played for someone's parents umpteen years ago, and they're playing for their daughter or their son who are getting married, you know, in modern day. I mean, that's pretty cool. So, you know, there's another feather in your cap, if you will, kind of thing of your list of achievements as a band, which just goes to show, you know, how long you guys have been around and how successful and well-known you are, and that's an incredible thing. So, well, I'm very, very excited, you know, that you guys are still at it and that you've got second generation of the band and that you guys don't have any plans of stopping anytime soon, which is great. And I can't wait for more new music to come out and, you know, and to see what's next from North Tower. That's going to be awesome.
We're looking forward to the future, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for being our special guest this evening, and just keep doing what you do. We love you, and you're awesome. So congratulations on your success, and here's wishing you 35 more years of the same and then some.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate
All right.
that. Well, yeah, thanks for doing what you do as well. You know, we couldn't do it without
you're so
you guys.
very welcome. We're glad to do it. We're glad to do it. Anything we can do to support you guys, we're happy to do it. So, well, take care. Enjoy your evening. Be safe in your travels as you go and play about, and we'll be back in touch with you real soon.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
All right. Good night. You've been listening to North Tower and the guys from North Tower. They are awesome. And I got a couple songs I'm going to play for you now from them, just to give you an idea of what kind of music they play. And wow, you know, they're a generational band now. And when you've been around as long as they have, you can't help but become one. And it's just a great testament to their history and longevity as a band. And how neat to have a reunion and bring back so many of the band members. Can you imagine? That had to have been quite a party. But anyway, I'm going to play their latest hit now, and this is called It's No Use.
To get close to you, but it's no use.
No Use, North Tower Band, and that is their latest hit that is just really running all up in beach music charts, and so I hope you enjoyed that. Real quick, I want to give you some info of where you can find the band, and if you'd like to check out their music and purchase it, support them, because in a sense, these guys, these bands and artists, even though they're termed Carolina beach music artists, they're just as much indie artists as any other indie artist out there that's working. I mean, they play a lot of gigs, and the money they make from playing everywhere is what they use to make new music. So they really do appreciate your support. But if you'd like to check them out online, you can go to their website, northtowerband.com. You can also follow them on Twitter at North Tower Band. They also have a Facebook page, so just look them up, North Tower Band, and you'll be able to follow them and keep up with everything that they're doing. All right, that's going to about wrap our show for this evening. And, again, we want to say a huge thank you to the guys from North Tower Band for being our special guest this evening, and we want to say a huge thank you to all of you for being with us as well. If you're brand new to our program, welcome aboard. We're always glad to welcome in new listeners, and we certainly hope that you'll be back again soon. So we're going to take the next few nights off, but we'll be back here again in the very near future with you guys, bringing you more great Carolina beach music. This is Beach Party Radio, and we want to say so much. We appreciate you being with us this evening. And with that, I would say enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and we'll see you again real soon. Take care all. Good night.
You've been listening to Beach Party Radio on blogtalkradio.com, featuring all the best music and interviews of Carolina beach music artists from the Grand Strand of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and all along the eastern seaboard. You can find us on the web at beachpartyradio.com and on Facebook and Twitter at Beach Party Radio. Thank you for joining us.